justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind.
So I'm gonna go with my first pick. So this is not the first name on my list, but this is the best player on my list, and who at the time, people may not realize this, is at the time was considered the best basketball player of all time at the time. And this is the logo, Jerry West. I don't know if you have him on your list, but I'm going to talk about Jerry here. So Jerry West, just a couple things that I wrote down. Now, Jerry West, he plays 14 years in the NBA, is an all-star all 14 of those years, is also all-NBA 12 times in that time, and 5-time all-defense. Finishes his career averaging 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. And like I said, at the time, is considered the greatest player of all time. By the time his career finishes, this is the number one guy. This is how he becomes the logo. But more importantly than just the averages, right? 27, 7, and 6. I mean, that's fantastic. That's a tick below LeBron right there, right? For his career average, 20th all time in win shares at 162.58. But his playoff numbers, one of the few NBA superstars whose playoff numbers actually take a leap in the playoffs. He averages, and I forgot to write his shooting percentage here down for the regular season, but in the playoffs, his percentages are 47% shooting, averages 29, 6, and 6. This is without free-pointers. So he essentially is taking a leap in the playoffs without any additional way to score more points, is just raising his game. One of the few players, obviously the only player in NBA history to win a finals MVP on a losing team in a losing effort. In a time when the championship teams were somewhat stacked, I guess you could say we're somewhat stacked. He played with Elgin for the majority of Elgin's career. Elgin came in before Jerry, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then Jerry plays the majority. Elgin ends up, retiring earlier the year that they actually trade for Wilt, if I'm not mistaken. Elgin retires, and then Jerry and Wilt go on to win a championship finally, before Jerry goes on to retire. And one last thing about Jerry West, but before I stop talking about him, we talked on the Last Dance pod about how great players, all-time great players, make shitty executives, shitty coaches, shitty everything. And that's not really the story for Jerry West. Jerry West's secondary career is also Hall of Fame worthy. If he was just an executive and not a player, he would go into the Hall of Fame for being an executive, for building the Warriors dynasty. He helps build the Lakers. If he helps build the Lakers, he's on the staff that helps trade for Paul Gasol, if I'm not mistaken, before he ends up going to the Warriors, helps build that championship team, and now is on the Clippers. And, well, shit, I don't know if they're going to win a championship, but they're pretty damn close. This is the closest they've ever been to winning a championship, arguably, with this roster. So credit to Jerry West. What do you got to say about Jerry?
Yeah, he was the only player to lose a finals and win a finals MVP. And yeah, a guy who was incredibly prolific scorer with no 3-point line, and very clutch. So a couple, like if you go back and watch some of the game film, you'll see him having a couple game-saving heaves from 60 feet or whatever. And today that would have won them the game, and that just pushes games into overtime for the Lakers in the 70s. And especially in a time where guards were not considered players you could build on. You in the Last Dance doc, you hear it all the time where Krause and them are saying oh, I wish Michael was 7 feet tall. And it's like, what? Do you see what he's doing? Why does it matter how tall he is?
Yeah,
but yeah, in a time.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you. I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
Just in a time where guards, were considered the second fiddle. He was incredible, and his whole career, his lowest scoring average was 17, and that was his rookie year. His final year in the league, he's still averaging over 20 points a game.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, which is to his credit. That's why, and some of these, for a lot of these guys, for one of these guys on the list especially, on my list, their averages suffer. And this is happening. I think this is happening more. Well, no, because you could say this happened with Bill Walton too, especially. But like the longer their careers go, their averages are starting to go down, especially their playoff averages. It's rare that you see a guy essentially go out just in the middle of his prime almost. You know what I mean? He's still what Jerry West essentially leaves at a time. What was he, 35 when he retired? In today's NBA, people would probably be like looking at him to play another 5 years at the averages he was averaging at that time. So, and to your credit, I mean, in the documentary, they have Clyde Frazier, who, you know, just a championship winning point guard, who they win the championship. I mean, who's what's his face, the other Hall of Fame, who comes out with the with Willis Reed. But really, Clyde Frazier is arguably the best player on that team. And even Clyde comes out and says, you know, MJ needs to understand that you can't build a team around like a smaller guy who needs the ball. Well, Jerry West, who plays, you know, he intersects with Clyde, kind of you would think is the exception to that rule. Obviously, comes before Clyde, but that's my first guy, Jerry West. There's a reason why he's the logo. He's one of the best scorers in time. And specifically, the reason why I wanted to bring him up is because people, this sounds like Kobe hate, and I don't want that to be the case, but I just want to put it in perspective. When people say Kobe is the greatest Laker of all time, that means that Kobe has to be vaulted into like the top 8. You know what I mean? And he's not necessarily in my top 8. You know, but and Jerry West, well, I'm sorry, no. To say that he's the greatest Laker of all time means Kobe has to be top 5, because that means he's greater than Magic, and he's not greater than Magic. Correct. And the real conversation is he greater than Jerry West? You know what I mean? Now, Kobe has a longer career, but damn, Jerry's fucking career is impressive, and people kind of need to understand this is not to shit on Kobe. It's to say that, Kobe's very fucking great, but Jerry West was also very fucking great at his time. So that's my last bit on Jerry West. Who you got next?
Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind. Used to come